ने पुरस्कृत किया है उनको आप मंच पे बैठाइए। That is our story, ladies and gentlemen. India's time has come. There's no power in the world that can deny our place in the Committee of Nations. But we have to make that happen. And the only way that we can make that happen is if we empower lives. We change the way we function. And that's where HR comes in. 30, 40 years ago, I had the honor of going to one of the best business schools in the world. And maybe 30, 40, 50 years ago, the Margdarshaks that we have awarded today, human resource was not a major component of an MBA program. In my 2 years at Stanford, from 99 to 2001, HR had become the fundamental of our MBA program. And I'll tell you a very interesting story. Like everything else in life, you can't have the best of everything. So like Dwarkanath ji and many of our professors that we have honored today through these awards, there are some courses where our professors are celebrities. Not because they are big names, but just because of the content in terms of what they teach. And therefore, some courses at Stanford, even though our class is very small, it's only about 360 kids, students, not kids anymore, per year. So for some courses, during your stay at Stanford, you have one silver bullet. And you can use that silver bullet to apply for that one course that you really want to take, because there's so much of demand for some courses. So the demand for this course is the highest amongst the top 10 courses at Stanford. So a lot of people use their silver bullet. And what is this course? This is not a course where you have a whiteboard and you have a professor going through a case study. But it's a course where you discover yourself. And so you're divided into groups of 6 or 8, and you spend the whole semester together in that group of 6 or 8, in a class of, let's say, 70, 80. And you have to mandatorily spend a minimum of 30 to 40 hours per week together. You talk, you eat, you drink, you spend time together. And during that time together, you're supposed to be completely vocal and free about each other. And so the time I spend in my group, let's say with these 10 ladies and gentlemen, suddenly one day Pragya turns around and says to me, you know, there's something that you said the other day. I didn't quite like that. And I perceived it like this. And then begins a conversation on Pragya's comment and my behavior. And then the next day, Dwarkanath ji picks up a comment about what Patwardhan Sahib has said, or some behavioral attitude of his. And so through this process, you discover many things about yourself. There are many things innately that you think you represent, but it doesn't matter what you think. It matters what the perception of others is about you. And therefore, through this course, you begin to discover yourself. And at the end of the course, there is a recording that is given to you. 3 minutes by each individual. So Swati ji will say something, Madhu ji will say something, Yuvraj ji will say something, Anuradha ji will say something. And that CD or that USB or that recording must stay with you for the rest of your life. Because every 3 or 4 years, you listen to this. And you learn and you remember what you learned about yourself in this course. So मेरा कहने का तात्पर्य ये है that the essence is not about spreadsheets or numbers. The essence is about the core, which is about yourself. And that is what human resource represents. What our awardees have done is that they have contributed to where their organizations are today. Because the most important thing is to keep your family happy. If your family is a happy family, if your family is an inspired family, if your family is an aspirational family, those bottom line results will come because people are motivated. And so I'd like to give a hearty round of applause to our awardees today. That's not loud enough for me. That still is not loud enough for me. Because what they have done is they have not built their institutions. These are the ladies and gentlemen that are going to go on and build India for us. Thank you very much for having me.
If our students would like to ask some questions.
Hello, sir. How are you? My name is Kanika Bedi, and I'm here to ask you a question. I am currently pursuing my post graduation in marketing and finance.
Marketing and finance, okay.
Yeah,
And what do you want to, what's your ambition? What do you want to do?
I want to be a portfolio manager.
You want to be a portfolio manager?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Tell me.
So I was hearing about your Stanford experience. I want to know, like, what is the difference between the American students and the Indian students you face, like you see?
That's a very good question. I'd like to change your question. What's your name again?
Kanika.
Okay, Kanika, I'd just like to change your question slightly. I firmly believe in terms of... so going back to what I talked about, in terms of intellectual capability, in terms of intelligence...
Both.
No, in terms of both those issues, I think that Indian students are way beyond the curve. Okay? But along with that comment, what's really important, and that goes to the point that I made during what I was intending to was a short address but turned into a long address, is that what's important in life is not only IQ. What's as important, or if I may say so, is even more important, is EQ. So along with an intelligence quotient in life, you must make sure that you have a very high emotional quotient.
Okay.
Right? And that's the essence of the comment that I made during my address. So what I believe is the difference between the Indian system and the American system is not necessarily the level of IQ or EQ between our students and the students there. But what I think is different is the system of education, the pedagogy. So let me give you an example. So when I was in Stanford for 2 years, first of all, within India, we have this theory that पढ़ाई करना है तो पढ़ाई करना है. तो क्लास 12 खत्म हो गया तो कॉलेज चले जाओ, कॉलेज खत्म हो गया. अच्छा, by the way, कॉलेज भी जाओगे तो अंडर ग्रेजुएट में general BA नहीं करना है, BBA करो, get into your area of focus, wherever you want to focus on, whichever vertical. So the first difference is that this brain is in an expansive mode until your mid-20s. So what we need to do to this brain is we need to be able to stretch it like a rubber band as far as possible. And therefore, it's very important from the age of 18 to 22 that our children don't necessarily get a vertical expertise, but really get a horizontal exposure. So when I went to college at Harvard as an undergrad, our first year, you're not allowed to choose a major. Mandatorily, you have to take courses across the spectrum, from math to sciences to philosophy to anthropology to language to whatever else. And why? Because they want you to go through a journey of discovery. Not necessarily discovering only what you like, but also discovering what is it that you don't like. That's as important in life. Similar to getting your jobs. Why must you do internships? And I'd strongly recommend to all of you that you must do internships. Because that through that process, that experiential process, you learn what is it that you want to do and what is it that you don't want to do. So the first comment that I want to make is that the system of education is much more horizontal rather than a vertical system. The second, and I found that a little surprising because I finished my undergrad in 1993, and then I was a banker for 5 or 6 years. And I only applied to business school after that. And I thought I'd be one of the oldest in my class at 20, I think I was 28. Yeah. So what's the average age here? Let me ask you.
20, 23, 24.
21, 22? 23, yeah. Way too early. Way too early. And I'll tell you why. In your institution, do you do stuff by case studies?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'll tell you why. So I didn't understand this myself. The reason is that the aim of a business school is what? It's not to bring you in and make sure that there's learning by rote and you're able to do those spreadsheets and get out and get a great job as a banker or a consultant or with PepsiCo or with Lemon Tree or wherever else. It's really to learn from each other. And the only way you'll be able to learn from each other is if actually you've gone and experienced life. Because then when you come into business school, you're bringing with you a whole gamut of experiences. And so when Professor Dubey or Professor Dwarkanathji get up on the dais and are going through a case study, you'll say, oh, hold on, wait. I went through something like this in my work experience. And this is what we did in our company. So let me give you an example. In my cohort at Stanford, I had a medical doctor who wanted to change track and go from being a medical doctor to becoming a private equity guy in the area of pharmaceuticals. That's why he came to business school. I had, you will not believe, the head of the New York Philharmonic Orchestra as my classmate. So she was the head of the New York Philharmonic, leadership, HR. Okay? I had a friend in my class who flew in the Iraq War. So pilot. So when you put this sort of a group together, the vivid and varied experiences that you'll get out of it is mind-blowing. And that's the kind of environment that we need to create in our business schools in India. And I hope Fostima is going to be one of the institutions that will try and create that system, because we do not want to create just numbers coming out of our institution. We don't want to shape minds. We want to shape hearts, because hearts lie at the true value of success.
Thank you so much, sir. But listening to your experience, I want to ask, like, during your education, there were a lot of assignments and a lot of, courses you were learning at one time. There must be a lot of pressure on you. Like, how do you manage that pressure with your, like, lot of things?
So that's true. One of the things that you have to imbibe and go through is to be able to work under pressure. And there are a lot of things on your plate. You take 5 or 6 courses a semester. You've got a hell of a lot of reading. We used to do 250 pages of reading a day, right? And the key there is to be really, again, we used to form small study groups for every course. So there were 3-4 of us that used to work together and study together. So I think, again, their collaboration, leaning on each other. So an area that I was really weak, in my study group, I'd have someone who'd be really strong. And an area where she was really weak, I would be strong. And so you learn that team building happens through that process. So collaborate. Do not work in silos. Work with each other. But certainly, in certain areas, there has to be ingenuity that comes in. Your papers, the way you process things together. And that expertise is also imparted to you through the institution. But working under pressure is a good training. It's a damn good training. I was a banker, and there were nights when I never went home. I literally went home to take a shower, brush my teeth, put on my next suit, and go back to work, right? And that actually produces good metal out of you. So don't shy away from pressure. Welcome it. Take it up with open arms. And that's going to make you a leader. That's going to make you successful in life. Last question, because I have to rush. If there is any left. Yes, the gentleman there.
Hello, sir. My name is Nitish Kumar. I am from First Time Business School, and I come from Bihar. Sir, मैं आपसे कुछ
Nitish, क्या करना चाहते हो? What do you want to do in life?
I want to become a successful business tycoon, sir.
Good. Okay.
सर मेरा ये क्वेश्चन है कि कोई स्टूडेंट अगर सबसे अच्छा इंग्लिश में अच्छा हो बोलने में, बट क्या वो सेल्स में अच्छा हो सकता है? क्योंकि सर आई एम फेसिंग सम चैलेंज एट दिस टाइम, क्योंकि फर्स्ट टाइम में प्लेसमेंट सेल चल रहा है और मैं एक कंपनी में बैठा जहाँ पर मुझे सेल्स के लिए बोला, मैंने सब कुछ आंसर दिया, बट उन्होंने इंग्लिश में मुझे बाहर कर दिया. बट क्या ये सही है सर कि जो बच्चा सबसे अच्छा इंग्लिश बोलता है वो सबसे अच्छा सेल्स में है, सेल्स कर सकता है? डू यू थिंक?
बिल्कुल नहीं. सेल्स भी एक आर्ट होती है, कला होती है. सेल्स एक साइंस नहीं है, एक आविष्कार नहीं, एक कला होती है. और चाहे सेल्स हो, चाहे मार्केटिंग हो, जो आपकी शैली है, आपकी क्षमता है, चाहे वो कोई सी भी भाषा में हो, अगर आप लोगों को वो विश्वास दिला सकते हैं कि केवल ये प्रोडक्ट आपके लिए उपयुक्त नहीं है, लेकिन प्रोडक्ट के अतिरिक्त हम लोगों का जो आफ्टर सेल्स सर्विस सिस्टम है, हम आप लोगों के साथ खड़े रहेंगे. अगर कोई कठिनाई होगी, मेरा नंबर लेना आप, हम आपके लिए उपस्थित रहेंगे. वो कॉन्फिडेंस और वो विश्वास उपभोक्ता में आप पैदा कर पाओगे तो आप एक सुपर सेल्समैन बन जाओगे. तो भाषा का कोई नियंत्रण ना कोई बाधा सेल्स पे कभी हो सकता है.
यस सर. एक क्वेश्चन का सर, एक क्वेश्चन आ रहा है मेरे पास. जो स्टेट ऑफ
संसद में हमको एक ही प्रश्न अलाउ किया जाता है.
सर
नहीं पूछो नीतीश.
सर स्टेट ऑफ एजुकेशन रिपोर्ट 2021 के तहत सर 1.2 लाख जो स्कूल है, उसमें से 1 स्कूल रन बाय द 1 टीचर. जो 89% जो स्कूल है सर, सबसे ज्यादा वो रूरल एरिया में है. सर वहां से सर स्ट्रॉन्ग बच्चे नहीं निकल पाते. जैसे आज हमें बिहार से हूँ सर, मैं टिकैतपुर गांव से हूँ. बट यहाँ मैं फर्स्ट टाइम में पहुंच गया क्योंकि मेरे पास कुछ पैसे थे तो मैं पहुंच गया, बट बहुत सारे अनटैप्ड वहाँ पर सर ऐसे ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो कुछ कर सकते हैं आगे जाकर, पर उनको ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं मिलता। तो सर उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए सर?
नितेश, मैं आपको बताऊं, प्रश्न ये है कि क्या बिजनेस स्कूल या ऐसा वातावरण अनिवार्य है सफलता के लिए? और मेरा संक्षिप्त उत्तर उसके लिए है सरासर नहीं। मनुष्य में जो क्षमता है, जो एक जागरूकता होती है, एक प्रतिस्पर्धा में उज्जवल होकर आगे आना की क्षमता होती है, वो किसी संगठनात्मक या किसी ढांचे के आधार पर कैद नहीं किया जा सकता।
यस सर।
विश्व भर में आप देखो, जितनी भी, अब ये नियम मैं नहीं बनाना चाहता, पर जितनी भी सबसे बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, उसमें से कितने जो उन कंपनी के फाउंडर संस्थापक रहे, वे सारे के सारे कॉलेज ड्रॉप आउट्स रहे थे।
यस सर, यस यस सर।
तो ये कोई नियम नहीं है। शिक्षा क्या करता है? शिक्षा जो आपके अंतर आत्मा और अंदर एक हुनर है, उसे खिलाने का कार्य करता है।
यस सर।
और वो हुनर तो आप में है ही ना।
यस सर।
तो कभी ये मत समझना कि ये कोई पाबंदी है या ये कोई गति अवरोधक हो सकता है आपकी सफलता में। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, sir, for the deep and rich insights you have given us today. These will go a long way in enriching the next Margdarshak Awards. FOSTEMA will always be thankful to you for being with us on this day. Thanks to your support, we are sure that Margdarshak Awards will be soon the most coveted awards. May I now request Mr. Gautam Kaul to present the citation memento to the chief guest.
Thank you.
May I now invite all the winners and the dignitaries on the dais for a group photograph with the chief guest. May I request Mr. Ajay Garg to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. But looks like he's leaving.
I thought you were supposed to.
But it's okay. We'll can drop it. We'll just finish.
So I'm still being asked to give the vote of thanks. I thought, I guess that's what happens when you have someone in the mix who has more busy time on the schedule. So I'll just take a couple of minutes. Thanks everyone to be part of this lovely morning today. Thanks Yashish. Thanks all the awardees. Being part of the country's investment in creating IIMs and IITs in some time, which is sort of, an important decision taken in the early 60s to take some money out of a socialistic country budget and put in those institutions, has created a community which is aspiring to all of us. And we, as a batch of 96, want to emulate what we saw Anil and Jerry, Sunil, and all his batchmates of 73 started what we call creating a nice institution for STEMA, where we could get, I was very heartened to hear Nitish from Bihar saying that this is a good platform which he's sort of looking for. This is what our aspirations were. We want to really take this, our own learning as a MBA pass out for the last 25 years, and all the learnings which we have, to give it part to the society in a platform like FOSTEMA, and encourage more and more such institutions to be created. So because I think we have millions and millions out there who need an opportunity, and I think this is what the whole initiative has been thought about it, and we hope to emulate the steps which Anil has set up. It's as Anil very rightly said, it's just providing the continuity to the vision which was set by the batch of 73. Today morning, I'm delighted to have all of you here, and congratulations to all the awardees. It's, I guess, all aspirational companies, which I think all of our batchmates and all of our students would be love to be part of. So thanks for being with us today morning, and thanks for participating today. Bye.
The show is not over yet. Please have a seat. Mr. Jayatirath Rao, the pioneering spirit behind FOSTEMA, cannot join us this morning because of his book launch in New York. Would like you to hear his message.
All of you know that FOSTEMA Business School has its inspiration in more ways than one from the IIMs and IIM Ahmedabad in particular. One of the issues in our country is that we have forgotten some of our traditions of Guru Parampara, Guru Dakshina, Guru Seva, and in fact, other countries, particularly in the West, have adopted these traditions. In organizing the Margdarshak Awards, FOSTEMA wants to simultaneously make a connection with our ancient traditions, going back to days of antiquity, and also adopt a very modern American tradition of celebration. If you look at America, they give Oscar awards, Tony awards, this award, that award, Grammy award. They're always praising people. They're always felicitating people. They're always doing positive reinforcement for achievements, not negative carping criticism based on envy. So we wanted to combine these, the ancient Indian tradition of respecting and honoring one's gurus, and the modern, if you will, American tradition of celebrating success, achievement, and recognizing individuals with great emphasis and with great honor and dignity. And that is not surprising. IIM Ahmedabad, after all, is the joint product of the visionaries of Ahmedabad, like Kasturbai Lalbai, Vikram Sarabhai, like Prakash Tandon, and so on. And the visionaries of Harvard Business School like Roethlisberger and so on. So it's not surprising that First Timer has chosen to combine these two traditions, one of honoring gurus and two of honoring, felicitating, congratulating, publicizing, giving importance to current achievers. And that's what the Margdarshak Award is. We also noticed that while the finance function gets a lot of attention from the media and there are a lot of awards, there's a lot of hoo-ha about financial officers, that the HR function, which we believe is key, has not received the same level of attention. A country succeeds not because it has iron ore or oil. It succeeds because it has talented people who work together. It has trained people, skilled people, disciplined people who work to make the country great. If you look at a country like Korea, which has virtually no raw materials, and yet is today an OECD country, you realize the importance of talent. Which is why the HR function, which again, too often is confused with admin. Administration is important, but HR is not about admin. HR is about talent, talent, talent. Because talent makes a company great, talent makes an economy great, talent makes a country great. So we are focused in the Margdarshak Awards in honoring our gurus, some of the great names of IIM Ahmedabad, who tend to be forgotten, but without whom India's present achievements, including CEOs in multiple companies around the world, would not have been possible. And in honoring our present HR fraternity in India, whose bounden obligation and duty is to focus on talent, talent, talent. Talent acquisition, talent training, talent nurturing, talent retention. That's what the Margdarshak Awards are. I'm sorry I'm not able to be in Delhi to attend this function. Unfortunately, I had a prior commitment in New York where one of my books is being launched at the end of September, so I cannot come. But I am there in spirit, and I'm very grateful to our good friend, Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, for agreeing to come grace the occasion and inspire the students and the awardees. I must tell you a small story about Minister Scindia, and then I will end. One day I had gone along with a very eminent and distinguished person who will remain unnamed, and we were waiting outside the Prime Minister's office. Mr. Scindia came there with a delegation of his political supporters, and I was quietly sitting with my head down. I was not trying to create any gadbad out there. Mr. Scindia, from about 30 yards away, waves to me, says, "Hello, Jerry, how are you?" And he walks up, shakes my hand, and says some very nice, pleasant, informal, friendly, courteous things. That's the kind of person he is. He's a man of unmatched courtesy, extraordinary memory, not one who just uses you and walks away, but one who recognizes friendships, relationships. His relationship with First Timer is an old one. He was present at the first function where we inaugurated First Timer, and we are so happy and so grateful to him that he has come here for this extraordinary Margdarshak function, which is being held physically after all the COVID traumas and all digital stuff that we've been doing in the past. Thank you, sir. We look forward to our continuing association and to your good wishes in making Faustima and Margdarshak continue on this extraordinarily important path that we have undertaken. Thank you, and I wish the best for the function, and I'd like to congratulate all the awardees. And when I'm back in India, I hope I can call and or meet each one of them and personally congratulate them. Incidentally, I also intend to do that with all the runners-up, because I believe they too are very important in this process. Award winning is actually, to some extent, the culmination of the entire process, and those who participated in it and those who came up trumps, and for whatever reason, one way or the other, did not make it, but almost made it. I think are people also that who need recognition and who need encouragement, and hopefully a 70-year-old man like me, if I do pick up the phone and call them or meet them, that would be helpful. So congratulations to the awardees, to the runners-up, and all the best for a great function. Thank you.
We also have a message from Mr. Rashesh Shaha.
Hello. Great to see that the Margdarshak Awards 2.0 have reached their culmination this evening, when the winners, the esteemed winners, will be honored by the Union Minister, Mr. Scindia. Unfortunately, because of my travel, I could not participate, though I was very keen to do that, and I regret not being there with all of you this evening. But from whatever I've participated, I can see that the Margdarshak Awards have become an exemplary and aspirational awards for the industry. My best wishes to all of you this evening, and heartiest congratulations to all the winners and my fellow alumnus, Anil and Gautam. Please keep the IMA flag flying. All the best. Thank you.
Now we have a message from Mr. Suresh Narayan. May I now request Professor Kaul to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. If I were to really do justice to my job of delivering a vote of thanks, I would need another long session, because there's so many people to thank. But I'll have to just confine myself to the thing. At the very outset, would like to express our deep gratitude to the Honorable Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Union Minister for Civil Aviation and Steel, for graciously presiding over the event in spite of having an impossibly hectic schedule. Would also like to express my appreciation to Mr. Dhaya for being with us this morning, to our glory, to our alma mater. To the members of the August Jury and Advisory Council, awardees, participants, and guests who were given Margdarshak Awards the stature that they have attained. Of course, we cannot end without giving thanks to our chairman, first time Mrs. Mani, and the first-timer family for last 1 month just did not know when she began and the next day ended. Would like to conclude that we look forward to the same unstinted support from you as we too move towards Margdarshak 3. Thank you, everyone, and it's time for lunch.